If you're here at E3, we hope you'll come by the booth and say hi. If you're not here in LA, please keep seeing Bethesda Net, where we'll have lots more to say about the games you saw tonight in the coming days, weeks, and months. And we thank all of you online for joining us. Please have a good night.
Wait. What? That's it? That's all we got? Really? So I am aware that many of you went to go tune in to Bethesda's E3 2017 press conference late last night, and were expecting something really exciting, like a new IP or a remaster of an old game from Bethesda. But what we got was a very unpleasant surprise. And in other words, it was just a disappointment. It was an absolute disaster. I'm surprised that they didn't riot at Bethesda Land. I mean, it was that bad. And I'm going to explain my opinions in this video about what I think. And it really wasn't the fact that they didn't announce any new IPs, new games. They were really just telling us about stuff that we already knew. It wasn't just that. It was the fact that they are bringing back, get this, paid mods. Now, it doesn't make all mods on Bethesda.net not free anymore. It just makes it so you can use this said Creation Club to basically purchase mods as DLC for Fallout or Skyrim. And people absolutely hated this system a couple years ago when it was present, so Bethesda, you know, got rid of it. But now they're bringing it back, and Steam actually isn't involved this time. They were involved before, but now it looks like it's just Bethesda's own version of this, which is, of course, the Creation Club. And to be honest, it's not really the paid mods program that I'm pissed about most. Of course, it is a really bad system, but the fact that Bethesda acted like E3 this year wasn't that big of a deal. Pete Hines appeared on stage like twice throughout the entire show. Todd Howard didn't make one appearance. Like, he didn't even appear on screen like he did last year. He didn't make one appearance at the show. And I was just like, what is going on here? Like, I thought this was some kind of pre-show, not just because it was very short, but because we didn't see Todd Howard at all. Because he's usually the one to go on stage or go on screen, like we saw last year, to announce the big IPs, the big games, or the big DLC for the big games. And he didn't appear once. And Bethesda's conference was so short. They showed off some new games, which was cool, like The Evil Within 2, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, which were cool. And those were probably the only two games that people actually cared about. But everything else we just knew about. Like, even Wolfenstein The New Colossus and Evil Within 2 we pretty much knew because they were teased. But everything else, like ESO Morrowind, Elder Scrolls Legends, everything like that we already knew about. So I don't know why they were telling us all this at E3 when they could have just spent all that time giving us new games or new info on games that we haven't known about yet. And it really didn't seem like Bethesda cared about this year's E3. They just kind of wanted to get it out of the way, sweep it under the carpet, like, hello, here's some new content for some games that we made a couple years ago, as well as some sequels to some games. Goodbye, have a good night. It wasn't really anything exciting whatsoever. I mean, I even slept through some of the day yesterday when Bethesda's E3 conference was coming up. I thought we were going to get blown away with a new game, aka Starfield. And also I was surprised that we actually didn't get not only Starfield, but a new IP whatsoever, because Starfield was a rumor that was floating around for a couple of years now, and to just not get it was very surprising. And maybe it's a massive project, maybe they need another year on it, maybe we'll see something of Starfield at E3 next year, so that's probably why we didn't see anything of that. But we could have at least gotten something fresh, something that we have never seen before, maybe a Fallout spin-off. I thought we were going to get something like that because Fallout 4 made so much money, and it's going on 2 years that the game's been out, so I thought they would have had enough time to have at least a partner company create a Fallout spin-off, which I think would have been really cool. Now, the Fallout 4 and Doom VR, as well as Skyrim going on the Switch, seem to be one of the most hyped things showing up at Bethesda E3, and even though VR is cool, it's not really a big thing right now, just because a lot of people can't afford a VR, and even though it's kind of, you know, the gaming of the future, it's not really something that people should be that excited for, because like I just said, a lot of people don't have a VR, a lot of people can't afford a VR, and to just be showing it off as kind of the head of the show really just doesn't seem right to me, and not to show a new IP, because VR just really doesn't seem to be that big at the moment because of how expensive the headsets actually are to buy. Now, Skyrim coming to the Switch was actually pretty exciting for some people. They even showed off a little Legend of Zelda amiibo, where it put this chest in the game that you could actually get Zelda loot out of, which was actually pretty cool. That was probably the best thing that people thought was at this Bethesda E3 showcase, because everything else they showed off was so obvious. Like, we knew all of this was coming, but they just showed it off anyway, and they didn't really give us anything new, especially from Bethesda Game Studios. The only thing we got from them was really the Fallout 4 VR. Everything else was from partner companies, and it was really just DLCs or sequels to those games from the ZeniMax partner companies. We really got nothing from Bethesda Game Studios, and I really think this was a failed attempt at an E3 showcase. It was definitely the worst conference Bethesda has ever done in the 3 years that they've been doing them, and it's also one of the worst E3 conferences in E3 history. I mean, it's definitely the worst conference right now that's been on so far, but it also has to take the cake for one of the worst conferences we've ever seen, because it was short, it was boring, we didn't see anything exciting. We just saw some sequels, like I said, The Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. Those were really the only two exciting things that people saw. Everything else was just so obvious, and I really hope Bethesda gets all of this hate put towards them, and they actually give us something good for E3 2018, or even sometime later this year, announce something that they will show us more in depth of at E3 2018. But yeah, they really jumped the gun with this, and they're really at their all-time low from this E3 conference situation with the paid mods and them not showing off any new IPs. It was just an absolute mess, and I hope they fix this up for next year's E3. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. I hope you guys enjoyed this little rant video. I really don't do these much, but until then, I'll be seeing all of you next time.